cancers. So I came here because to celebrate the last of June, to thank God for a great miracle He has done for our family. Actually, I'm rather to Auntie Cornelia, which is people come to Cornelia. And then Auntie Cornelia's Penny is my niece. And she was a little, when I became a Muslim, I lived with her for some time before she came to join the mom. So we lived a good family, a good, really good people. I come from the church, and so this is the one I forward. But I will not say a lot about me because it's not me that we are here. And we are here because we want to thank God. We want to thank Him for the many graces He has given to us. And for us partners, when we gather to celebrate the Eucharist, we are thanking God. Because the Eucharist is thanksgiving. It is also our praise. So when we gather together, it is always praises and thanksgiving that we are giving to God. We owe God, our Father, praise and thanksgiving for creating and sustaining and nourishing us. And as I said, it is also appropriate to add our own private thanksgiving to the Eucharist, the source and sounding of our worship and Christian life, and say a good and big thank you to God. So, like somebody sang, I don't know who sang it, but I heard people sing that. I'm not going to sing it all, but I'm just singing a little bit. So the essence of our praise is centered on your face. The essence of our praise today is centered on the grace that the Lord has bestowed upon my brothers. Today, my dear people, Jesus teaches us about Eucharist, about His body and blood. He says, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never hunger, and whoever believes in me will never thirst. And in John chapter 6, verse 51, he says, I am the bread that came down from heaven. Whoever eats this bread will live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh. Then verse 54, he says, whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood has eternal life, and I will raise him on the last day. Then at the Last Supper, Jesus took bread and wine, blessed it and said, this is my body, and this is my blood. Do this in remembrance of me. This is very important in the life of the church and our Christian life as Catholics. Because the body and blood of Christ unites us to Christ Himself, and it unites us to each other. The body and blood of Christ also cleanses us from our past sins and our present sins. After Jesus had taken and blessed the boys' lunch to feed 5,000 people. If you came to church last Sunday, then he fed about 5,000 people. They were very impressed. The people were impressed and wanted to make Jesus a king. But today the reading tells us that Jesus went to the other side of the lake. And the people followed him. Why did the people follow him? They were hungry. They were hungry for something. We live as hungry people in a hungry world. Everyone is looking for something that will sustain and nourish life. Everyone is looking for some kind of bread. But our hunger is not a bread hunger. Our hunger is a spiritual hunger. There is a very deep longing within us that cannot be fully us that there is a God. It was that hunger for God, that drove the crowd to follow Jesus. And that hunger still continues to hunt us. My dear people, you can remember that when there is any operations, when there is a shrine, or when there is a so-called hospital that comes from God, when there is a crusade or whatever, you see how people flock to that place. You can imagine how people go to our brothers. In August 15, when I was in Ghana, assumption is always full of people. Why? You have you ever asked yourself why? The divine tendency in us, and it's in every one of us. But this divine tendency in us, sometimes people do not understand that they cover it with something. So people want to satisfy that hunger in them. Some try to use other means, but there is no other means except Jesus. He is the bread that endures forever. He is the bread that is broken and shed for the life of the world. He is the bread that is broken but never divided. He is the bread that is eaten but never exhausted. When we eat this bread, we become what we eat. He says, as I am the bread of life. And so we eat it, and we become what we eat. We become bread. We become bread to feed other people. When we eat Jesus, we choose life, love, and we choose forgiveness rather than anger and hate. When we eat this bread, we choose and obey with intimacy and vulnerability rather than superficial things and defensiveness. When we choose the bread of life, we listen to God's voice rather than our own. And when we choose to eat the bread of life, we choose life rather than death. So my dear people, Jesus is calling all of us to himself. Jesus is saying your hunger can be satisfied only by him. Paul tells the people that in our second reading, that anything that you need to remind you, let us put the self aside and eat on Christ. Our earthly life can be filled with despair. It can be filled with disappointment. We can be hard pressed, perplexed, persecuted, and struck down. But in all these experiences, we are not crushed. We are not despaired. We are not abandoned or destroyed. Because Jesus, the bread of life, is what we eat and what we eat. And now, my dear, every time you receive Holy Communion, you receive Christ. Hold Christ in your hands as you receive him and tell him. Ask him to heal you. Ask him that Jesus, you are not going to live in me. So this is my problem. This is my issue. Say precious gift, a gift in the body and blood of Christ, and God cherish it. Let us cherish it. See beyond the priest who gives you the communion. See beyond the Eucharistic minister who gives you that communion. See Jesus always. He will fulfill, satisfy your hunger. And my mom said, communion and the direct church. Jesus said, or not, any community. Or no, any class or activity that support everybody. We are seeing in the community, we are starting and I told her, the tree, the fire, if you get my, I love it, yes, I will. The common and my never be brave. And so, the radical child said, some common, and yet a common one, and we are India, and we are India, speciality, and our men. Then, when they come out, all of them come on, to an island. If you say, oh, no, and now, what they are doing, I yet can't do it. Yes, we explain it. You shall have a blood and say, there are the assets, he said. The young man, smart living now, as a fact, and they live in the man. South Sudan, and no, and then, Miss Miller Bushman, she has said, remember that day, set us up, the office said, they are real, I must have been also. Original community, yes. Very dear, young and I say the same thing. Sasuna, the reformer, the other, I will say, the original Munama, the Lord tell them my area, the my area. They will say, who can we will be so we cannot get what I say, what you see, when you go, and I will be farmer. We are the truth of Radamana, so the Radamana. What to the moon and children, and what to the soon and what time we are and so happy. And of what I am again, the sin. Radina, or my until Augustus said, our hearts are restless until we find rest in you. They are come, they be everybody and simple that I don't just say, I don't just say, I don't just say, we will never be strong, we will never be